The First World War, which engulfed the world from 1914 to 1918, presented unprecedented challenges and tested the resilience of democratic ideals. At the forefront of the Allied powers stood President Woodrow Wilson of the United States, a steadfast advocate for democracy and the principles of self-determination. This video explores Woodrow Wilson's role as a champion of democracy during World War I, examining his visionary ideals, diplomatic efforts, and the lasting impact of his leadership on the global stage. Visionary idealism, the 14 points. In January 1918, President Wilson outlined his vision for a just and lasting peace in his famous 14-point speech before the U.S. Congress. The principles articulated in this speech aimed to address the underlying causes of the war and establish a foundation for lasting peace. Wilson's vision included the concept of self-determination, the reduction of armaments, and the establishment of a League of Nations to prevent future conflicts. The call for democracy and self-determination. Wilson's advocacy for democracy was rooted in the belief that governments should derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. The principle of self-determination, central to Wilson's vision, emphasized the right of nations to choose their own form of government and destiny. This idea resonated with nations aspiring to break free from imperial rule and laid the groundwork for the post-war redrawing of national borders. Entry into the war, making the world safe for democracy. While the United States initially pursued a policy of neutrality in the early years of World War I, President Wilson ultimately decided to seek a declaration of war against Germany in 1917. In his address to Congress, Wilson proclaimed that the world must be made safe for democracy, articulating a moral imperative for the United States to join the conflict in defense of democratic values. The League of Nations, a vision for collective security. President Wilson's commitment to preventing future conflicts led to the inclusion of the League of Nations as a fundamental component of the post-war order. The League, as envisioned by Wilson, would serve as an international forum for diplomatic resolution and collective security. While the United States ultimately did not join the League, Wilson's advocacy laid the groundwork for the creation of the United Nations after World War I. Treaty of Versailles and Legacy. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended World War I and incorporated many of Wilson's 14 points. However, the United States' reluctance to fully embrace the treaty, particularly the League of Nations component, highlighted the complexities of implementing Wilson's visionary ideals on the global stage. Despite the challenges, Wilson's advocacy for democracy and self-determination left an enduring mark on the principles that shaped the post-war world. Woodrow Wilson's leadership during World War I marked a pivotal moment in the history of democratic ideals on the global stage. His commitment to the principles of self-determination, democracy, and international cooperation set a visionary standard for the post-war order. While the practical implementation of his ideals faced challenges, Wilson's legacy endures as a symbol of the unwavering belief in the transformative power of democratic values amid the chaos and devastation of World War I.